need some help? Oh, for God's sake, thank you. Yeah, I want to raise some, but I don't have the energy. Oh. Oh, that's gorgeous. When I thought of flying, it was an escape from a world I didn't like. And when I got up there, it was the place I always wanted to be. And I just completely loved it. Then the war came along, and then the day came when I was flying in one of those military planes and looked out at the star on the wing, and I felt like I was in heaven.
Under 2. verdenskrig var Anne Nockel en af de 1074 kvindelige piloter i WASP, Women Air Force Service Pilots. For første gang nogensinde fik kvinder adgang til militærets fly. De overtog en række flymissioner inden for USA's grænser, så mændene blev frigjort til kamp.
Women too are trained to do their share.
Hun fløj slæbemål, og sidenhen så blev hun flyinstruktør, og så arbejdede hun som crop duster. Og til sidst så hun endt med at blive kunstfotograf.
Dallas was about 90 miles north of our base. So I'd fly up to Dallas and there wasn't anybody to shoo back home. So I'd go fly down the main streets of the town, you know, just roar very low. I could look up at the tops of the buildings. Some of them, you know, the higher buildings, yeah. Yeah. And the plane was very noisy, so I know probably woke innumerable people up, and I thought that was fun, you know. We didn't get the best jobs in the world. All of our hearts were set on being ferry pilots and getting to fly fighters and that sort of thing. But of course, we weren't just assigned what we wanted, we were assigned where we were needed at that time. And my whole class, when we graduated, there was no openings in the ferry command. All the openings were in air training command. So I went to Eagle Pass, Texas, and towed targets for aerial gunnery. We would fly down the range, and the planes would come toward us and make what they called a pursuit curve, firing their guns, and then they'd break off, and we would turn around and go back the other way, and we'd do that until they ran out of ammunition.
Wasn't it dangerous?
Only if you got hit.
Did you ever get hit?
No. Every now and then there might be a hole in the tail, because sometimes they would get fixated looking into the gun sight and lose their perspective and just keep on firing and keep on turning. And there's this thing about sound. You couldn't hear the guns until they were in 45 degrees to your heading. And if you heard the guns, you were told to tell them to get off your tail. So on any day you'd hear somewhere, you know, every hour some female voice saying, "Get off my tail." Because they were firing, you could hear the guns. I always have had, I think it leads to my photography, but I've always had this sensation of seeing myself being there in airplanes. I think, I'm here, and then I could be outside myself and see myself there. It was sort of a satisfying thing to do. And when I remember when I soloed the PT-19, which was a military primary trainer, I remember I got up on the wing and I stood there and I remembered Amelia Earhart standing on the wing. And I thought, well, here I am and I'm doing the same thing. And it was, I was just a kid and I was so young and I was so enthralled. But I also think if I would have kept flying for year after year after year after year after year until now, I would be, I hate to use the word, I'd probably be a little bored with sitting up there, you know, circling and flying, and because I wanted to use this a little bit more. No. This is from a series called Recent Follies that I did with my friend Jim. Young people look at us And I realized I did the same thing with my mother. Look at us as though there's no more sensuality or sexuality in a human being once they hit a certain age, and you look on them as just a creature. I wanted to indicate that that's not true.